So you're thinking of relocating to Northern Virginia? It's a thriving, beautiful part of the US. I've lived here for over 40 years and I have the inside scoop on everything Nova. Before you commit to life here, there's a few things that you need to know. I'm breaking down 5 pros and 5 cons for you right now. And I've got maps, stats, and incredible footage for you. I got a drone for Christmas. So I'm going to start with the pros. The number one pro is definitely hands down the job market. The Nova job market is always thriving, it seems. The unemployment rate here, just in Northern Virginia alone, is 2.8% compared to 4.2% in all of the US. So things are going well. There's public sector government jobs, IT, defense, education, healthcare, financial, and more. The DoD and defense contractors in the area the big ones are Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, Boeing, Raytheon, and General Dynamics. There's a lot of tech jobs, software developers, analysts, web developers, and 2 big healthcare employers are Innova and Virginia Hospital Center. There's nearly 300 data centers in Loudoun County. Loudoun County is known as the Data Center Alley, which handles 70% of the world's internet traffic. Some big names like Amazon Web Services, Cloud HQ, Google Cloud, and other private sector jobs with Hilton, Capital One is big, and Tyson's, Verizon, United Airlines, and Amazon, of course, in Arlington. I want to share my screen with you and show you some of the stats that I have. Here we go. This is Career One Stop, and it's sponsored by the U.S. Department of Labor. And I put in here some random jobs: software developers, teachers, nurses, and financial and investment analysts. And so you can see the red one here at the top. Software developers tend to make, say, 141.5 in Northern Virginia compared to, and I put some other places in here, Dallas, Texas, Kansas City, Missouri, Jacksonville, Florida, and New York City. So of course, New York City is, higher than Northern Virginia, but you can see Northern Virginia really ranks. Here's the software developers. Here's the teachers. Teachers are doing pretty good here in, which one is that? Kansas City. And then nurse practitioners, they're making a lot. Still, New York City you're making more. And then here's financial and investment analysts, again, ranking pretty high. So the median Northern Virginia income, just the median for all jobs, is 115 to 120,000. And in the U.S., the median income is 75,000. And the median income in just all of Virginia is 79,000, but Northern Virginia, it's up to 120,000. So that's one of the big pros for living in Northern Virginia. The salaries are very competitive. If you know where you're going to be working, I can help you find the best areas to buy a home based on your commute. Give me a call, shoot me a text, or set up a Zoom call so that way I can make sure that you have all the information, the data, the facts that you're looking for when you're relocating to Northern Virginia. So, as I said, I'm going to talk about 5 pros. We're getting ready to do number 2, but I wanted to let you know that I saved the very best one for last. So trust me, you don't want to miss this final point. Okay, pro number 2, being close to D.C. Not only for all the jobs that I just finished talking about, but there are museums, monuments, the inauguration parade, marches, the Smithsonian, the Museum of Natural History, the Air and Space Museum, the Bible Museum, the Lincoln Memorial, There's so much that you can take your children to and teach them so much about our country and history. The Arlington Cemetery, at Arlington Cemetery, they have the changing of the guard ceremony at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, and they do it hourly, and it's really a cool thing to take your kids to go see. There's the White House, the Capitol. When I was in high school, we always went to field trips downtown, and I specifically remember one field trip we went to the Capitol, and I mean, I got to see all kinds of congressmen and senators. I remember seeing Tip O'Neill, if anybody remembers Tip O'Neill. He was famous for saying all politics are local, but it was really cool. I got to talk to him for a little bit. So it's really amazing to live near our nation's capital, just for all the monuments and the cool field trips that your kids will probably go on. Education in DC, there's tons of universities, Georgetown, GW, American. Just, some of you may not like politics. I like politics, so it's really cool. You can go down and attend congressional hearings, you can witness inaugurations, you can participate in rallies. That, and think about it, like when I was in college at George Mason, I interned downtown at a government agency. So there's amazing opportunities for your family, your kids, if you have them. If all of this is sounding absolutely amazing to you, get in touch with me so we can start talking about the best area for you and your budget. But before you decide if Northern Virginia is perfect, there's some major drawbacks and that you need to hear about. And I'm going to cover the cons in just a few minutes. But for now, here's pro number 3, the airports. We are near Dulles Airport in Loudoun, Reagan National, which is downtown. It's so convenient being near these airports. Dulles International Airport, they have like 500 to 700 flights a day. One big tip, if you go, because you have to go through security and it's a huge airport, I recommend getting there at least 2.5 hours before your flight. Reagan National has about 300 flights a day, which are mostly domestic. It's down in D.C. We also have some local airports, some smaller airports, Manassas Airport and Leesburg Executive Airport. A lot of people travel for work, and they're usually flying out of Dulles or National, and it just, it gives you so many more opportunities living close to these airports. Okay, if you like what you're seeing, hit that subscribe button and hit the notifications bell so you can be notified every time I put up a new video, which I will be putting up weekly. So you have that to look forward to, and you can learn all about Northern Virginia. If you have kids, you're going to want to hear this next pro. Pro number 4 is the schools. Nova has the highest ranked schools in the state of Virginia. We are ranked 4th in the country. The reason our schools are so good is we have a higher budget per student, lower student teacher ratios, and it's just significantly better than average high school graduation rates. More students in this area go on to college than in a lot of surrounding regions. Since Nova is also home to top-notch colleges and universities like George Mason, Georgetown, University of Maryland, American University, GW, and GW School of Nursing is right here in Loudoun County. A lot of students end up attending college in their own neighborhoods. I encourage you to check niche.com and greatschools.org. I wanted to just go online to show you some more stats about the school systems here. I'll share my screen again. I wanted to just show you on the U.S. News reports that the top ranking high schools in Virginia, most all of them are located in Northern Virginia. Also, I'm not steering in any way. This information is public information, and I'm just showing it to you, but I'm not steering you in any way towards any high schools. I do want to point out that Thomas Jefferson is rated number 1, and that's in Alexandria. And you can see all these other schools: Oakton High School, McLean High School, Marshall High School, Meridian High School. There's one in Richmond, Madison High School. These are all in Northern Virginia. Chantilly High School, that's where I went. So, anyways, they're all highly ranked in the state of Virginia. And I also, like I said earlier, please check niche.com and greatschools.org. And you can research the schools in your area for your kids: elementary schools, middle schools, and high schools. They have great information on there. And I want to point out that there's awesome, amazing private schools in the area: Wakefield, Flint Hill, Madeira School, which is in McLean, Fairfax Christian School, the new Cornerstone Academy in Middleburg, Trinity Christian in Fairfax, and then there's Emmanuel Christian in Springfield. There's Congressional, and another great school is Paul VI Catholic High School, which is in Chantilly. So we've talked about 4 pros, and I've saved my favorite for last. So here we go. Pro number 5 is recreation and history. There is so much to do and learn about here in Northern Virginia. There's amazing hiking in Great Falls, Shenandoah National Park, the WOND Trail, and the Appalachian Trail. You may know already, but the Appalachian Trail starts down in Georgia and goes all the way up west. I can't remember how many miles, but it's a lot. And it's really cool to hop on the Appalachian Trail and meet some of the through hikers. A through hiker, if you don't know, is somebody that's hiking through. And it's kind of neat to meet those people. You can always tell who they are because they're usually a little disheveled looking because they've been camping for weeks. But they always have great stories. And then on the water, there's canoeing and kayaking on the Potomac rivers and the Shenandoah River. There's great golf here at River Creek, Westfields, Lansdowne, Belhaven, and Alexandria. Tennis is really big here. USTA, I play tennis, so I always like to put tennis in there, but there's plans to build the next USTA facility here in Loudoun County, so that will be amazing. Lots of, additional indoor courts. The sports here in the national level is we've got the Washington Commanders, the Washington Nationals, Washington Wizards, D.C. United Soccer, and the Washington Capitals. The parks here are amazing. We have tons of county parks and Virginia parks, but in addition to that, we have King's Dominion, Six Flags, and Busch Gardens, all within, either an hour to 3 hours away. There's so much history here in Northern Virginia. We've got Mount Vernon, Manassas Battlefield, Old Town Alexandria. You can study the Civil War galore. There's the C&O Canal, which is so historical. There's so many things to learn with your family. And of course, as I touched on before, there's museums downtown, the theaters around here. There's Wolf Trap, Jiffy Lube Live, Capital One Arena, and the Kennedy Center. I've been to the Kennedy Center quite a few times, and it's always amazing to go there. And if you're into cycling is big here. We have the WOND Trail. A lot of people like to cycle on that. And Loudoun County has the most gravel roads in the country, 300 miles worth. So if you're into gravel cycling, this is the place to be. Loudoun County is wine country. It's called DC's Wine Country, with over 50 wineries just in Loudoun County. So there's tons of wine tasting opportunities. Is Northern Virginia really the perfect place to call home? Stick around as I break down the surprising cons of living here. All right, con number 1, traffic. Traffic's really bad here, and it's just something that you have to get used to. There's nothing you can do about it. So I'm just going to share my screen again. Some of the cities with the worst traffic. This is an article from World Population Review. It was done in 2024, and it shows for here, number 2, Washington, D.C., worst traffic in the country. There's also an article by U.S. News, and they rate Washington number 8, worst traffic. So in the United States. I just want to show you also where all the worst traffic is, so that when you're thinking about where you want to live in Northern Virginia, this should help you. Some of the worst places, the worst traffic areas in Northern Virginia. Here's Washington, and here's all of Northern Virginia. The worst traffic is going to be on the Beltway, which is called 495, and it circles Washington, D.C. It goes in Maryland and it's in Virginia. So Maryland's over here, Virginia's over here. And another terrible road is Route 66, right here. And it goes into DC. It goes from west to east, or east to west. And then the Beltway is the circle. These two are probably the worst roads that you'd ever want to be on for traffic. And then there's another road here, which is 28, Route 28. It's horrible. I used to live on it. I used to live in Centerville, and Route 28, especially during rush hour, but sometimes even on the weekends, it is always backed up. So these are some of the main hubs for commuting around Northern Virginia. And if you don't have to travel on them, great. But most likely you probably will, especially if you're working downtown. We do have hot lanes, but as you know, that can be very expensive. In Loudoun County, we have the Greenway, or 267, and during rush hour, it's $5.80 each way. When we moved out to Loudoun County, we just kind of factored that into our budget, and you just deal with it. Con number 2, the cost of housing. Houses are extremely pricey compared to the rest of the country. The closer you are to DC, the more expensive. Let me show you some areas. Here's our map again. I wanted to show you, again, here's Washington, and here's the Beltway that goes around it. So here's Arlington. The river here, the Potomac River, it goes right here, and the Potomac River divides Washington from Virginia. This is Arlington here. It's expensive to live here. There's older homes. They're doing, they have some tear downs as well. When, there's a neighborhood and there's an older home, they tear it down and put a bigger, more modern home. So there's a lot of that going on in Arlington. But for the most part, if you worked in DC, Arlington is the ideal place to live. However, you're going to have a smaller lot and you're going to have an older home, and that's fine too. I'm just letting you know what kind of homes are there. That there's only there's some bridges to get across the Potomac River. There is this bridge here down in Alexandria that goes over to National Harbor. This is called the Woodrow Wilson Bridge. It's the bridge from, remember the 495 loop that goes around. So this is the Woodrow Wilson Bridge, Memorial Bridge, Roosevelt Bridge, and the Key Bridge. So those are the ways to get over to Washington from Virginia. I wanted to show you where Alexandria is. It's south of Arlington. Here's Arlington, and here's Alexandria. Alexandria can be a really great place to live. It's expensive. There's waterfront properties, which are hard to come by, and they're expensive as well. But it's known for the Old Town Alexandria is really, really beautiful. And I can go to the street view here, and it's a charming little town. You can see, go down here. They have, brick sidewalks, really great little boutiques and wonderful places to shop. So I just wanted to kind of show you what Old Town Alexandria looks like. Zoom back out, and I'll show you where Fairfax County is. This is Fairfax County, and Fairfax County is also It borders Arlington and Alexandria. And inside of Fairfax County is the town of Fairfax. And so inside of Fairfax County, that's where we have Springfield, Burke, Annandale, Vienna, and Chantilly. And here's Fairfax. This is where George Mason is. There's West Springfield and Herndon, Reston, Oakton is around here somewhere. It's just not showing up on the map. Traffic is always going to be going, as I was saying earlier, 66. It goes right along here into DC. So any of these places that, all around here, you're going to be commuting, obviously, on 66 to get to DC. The cost for homes in Leesburg averages around $700,000. In Prince William County, it's about $550,000. But just remember, the housing market here is great and housing prices are always going up. So it's always a good investment in real estate. Con number 3 is taxes. Real estate taxes in Loudoun County is $0.865 per $100. So a house that is $800,000 would be, the real estate tax would be $6,920. In Fairfax County, it's $1.125 per 100. So that same $800,000 house, the real estate tax would be $9,000. So that just kind of puts it in perspective as to how expensive real estate taxes are here in Northern Virginia. We also have the personal property taxes, which is on your cars. So that means that you have to, if you own a car or lease it, you have to pay a personal property tax on your car every year. So in Loudoun County, it's $4.15 per $100 in Loudoun County. So if you have a $50,000 car, your tax is going to be $2,075 per year. In Fairfax County, it's $4.55 per 100. So that same $50,000 car you're going to pay $2,275. In Prince William County, it's lower and your tax would only be like $1,800. And out in Warren County, it's $4.28. So $50,000 car would be about $2,140. My con number 4 is the weather. Weather can be all over the place here in Northern Virginia. And I want to tell you, because we have a snowstorm coming, when it snows, you need to be prepared for everything to shut down. Schools will close, even if it's just flurrying. That can be a con here, because I think a lot of people, if you work and you have your kids going to school and then all of a sudden they're home for the day, but it's okay for you to drive to work, it can kind of get complicated. But my major complaint with the weather here is that in the summer, it gets so hot, like in the hundreds, and the humidity in July and maybe June, July, and August, the humidity is terrible. I hate humidity, so to me, that's a major con. Con number 5 is that the public transportation and the walkability, there really isn't a lot of walkability in Northern Virginia. It's, a lot of people are commuting from suburb to suburb, and in that situation, there really isn't public transportation available. Yes, different cities have their bus systems, but my personal experience is you really need to have a car in Northern Virginia. If you need to take your kids to dance or football practice or soccer practice, there just really isn't. You're going to need a car. That's the only way you're really going to be able to get around to take everybody where they need to go to the grocery store and that kind of thing. You need to have a car. Most commute times are anywhere from 30 to 60 minutes commuting to work here in Northern Virginia. So if you know where your employer is going to be here in Northern Virginia, you can just call me and set up a Zoom call so we can talk about it and figure out the best place for you to live in relation to where you're working. If there's a particular city or town that you want to see, let me know in the comments. I love covering all of Nova.